No. Because cold open, you come home, you crack open the beer, you enjoy it. Cold open. That's your cold open every night. Perfect.
See, then why are we not cracking open beers when we're cold opening? Is the question.
Speak for yourself.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Draft Digest. The sickest NFL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
I got you tonight, Emily. Draft Digest live. Starting now. Everybody, the usual gang here. Emily Van Buskirk, John Vogel. A couple new faces into the network that we've added up on tonight to get everybody involved. We're going to start with Dom over here on my side. Dom, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, because I know that you're a huge Jets fan. You really love the draft. That's how we got connected. Was through the draft stuff. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Hi, everybody. My name's Dom. I got my Twitter handle in there. Pretty active on Twitter at DC_NYJets. Just a really, really big football nerd, draft nerd. Tried to get myself into the weeds and got myself way too far into the weeds. Got myself a little education and in scouting and just really, really diving into the X's and the O's and the Y's and the process of football and college football players really just gets my juices going. So, that's how I kind of linked up with John. I would, nudge him and use his ear for, hey, does this look good? How does it sound? Give me your thoughts on this guy. What are you seeing that I'm missing? That kind of stuff. And we just became friendly, and it's a really cool network that, little niche group of, kind of evaluators that I'm involved with. I do a lot of work for some Jets content creators, and I'm all over the place. So I'm happy to be here with you guys. Emily, Hoos, pleasure.
Yep. So, Dom is going to be helping me bouncing some draft ideas and stuff off. And then I was like, well, if we're going to talk about extensive football on a Wednesday night, there's no one that I know better for the job than Mike Huesmann. So this is going to be our third year doing a show of some sort together. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself on the Sick Network here.
So Mike Huesmann, as I was introduced, I'm originally from Minnesota. The accent will come out from time to time. You guys will catch that. Kind of made my way here. I'm now in almost in West Virginia, professor at Marshall. But kind of my path isn't dissimilar to Dom's. What I do is very dissimilar, though. So I, went to a D3 school, played there, coached at a few colleges, then coached at a high school for a long time when I was teaching. Then I went for my PhD at University of South Carolina and couldn't coach anymore, wanted to do something else in the space. So that's when when I was there in Columbia, met and became friends with John, and we did the show. I did some writing for John too, in fact, at one point. Now I do some writing for Mike Farrell Sports. Most of my stuff is on the coaching carousel and the transfer portal. And then about the last 8-9 months, I've been doing a show with the SEC After Dark Network. So it's the After Dark Network, but SEC After Dark is the group of all of us on Thursday nights. And then about the last 2 months, I've had my own spinoff called Off Season After Dark. So you can find all those, on my Twitter, YouTube, etc. But yeah, that's known John for multiple years, and even when we weren't doing the show together, we stayed in regular contact and text frequently. So yeah, glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you guys joining Emily. Everybody knows Emily, the absolute one of the best beat, and I shouldn't say beat. You're really better than a beat writer. It's one of the best feature writers.
Nobody has ever called me a beat writer in my life. That was a first. So I appreciate it because nobody grinds harder than beat writers, to be honest. So,
well, that's the thing is like you would take the beat type approach when you go into your stories and stuff. You know, so like
I do try and immerse myself into the school. That is true.
Yeah, that's why all those freaking coaches came on the last month. It's because you get in real tight with all of them. So I think first off, Dom really knows football, and I want to be able to bounce draft stuff off of somebody. And you're going to be really good at that, Dom. I can't wait until people start to figure that out about you. And then Mike, you're being humble down there, man. You're like one of the biggest college football nerds, like when it comes to just random stats and you know, betting lines and everything else, like betting tendencies, like you've got it all right there. In that dome of yours. That's what are you wearing on that dome? What is that?
Oh, this is one night I was on Etsy and I made a purchase I didn't need to make. Okay. I made my own design hat for the show I have.
Hell yeah.
Is it the upside down or no?
The letters are upside down. That's
boy, we need to have a conversation about upside down writing on hats.
Well, it looks backward, but it looks backward because of the camera here.
Well, yeah. That's a hot topic in the sports world, especially I work in golf and they're starting to do it in golf and everyone hates it. They're so mad because it's different, but that's it's actually a pretty good debate I've seen about the upside down lettering.
Oh, he fixed it. Oh, yes, there we go.
Yes. I have the same one in every color.
I've seen it before. Yeah.
I literally am like the poster board for Onward Reserve. I have every hat of theirs that says that in every color. So
I love
it. Fantastic.
Best hat.
Already meshing together, already coming together. Okay, guys. So the other thing that I really want to use this for is to expand longer on some of these topics that we discuss on the regular show. So tomorrow we got the preview for week 1 that'll be dropped today. This morning we dropped the week 0 review. So if you kind of look at week 0, I guess we could start with the Dublin game because that was a very interesting game. Emily hated it. It's okay. It was grimy, it was dirty, it was messy, it was sloppy until about the fourth quarter when absolute fireworks and mayhem exploded with the big plays. I did not hate it. Obviously, I was so excited for football to be back. But I will tell you that it gave me PTSD watching people throw it over, the top so much because, I grew up a Stanford fan and we used to have this thing called the end zone fade that David Shaw would just revert to all the time. So watching people do that gave me a lot of anxiety. I'm like, why are people throwing over the top so much? Why are these guys open back there? So that was the only thing that got me about the game. That's fair. Okay. And I mean, there were a lot of wide open receivers there in the fourth quarter. It was mayhem. So Dom, I had thoughts, but I wanted to get yours first on just from a. Did you get a chance to look at the film or anything?
So as we were talking about before here, I just literally yesterday or 2 days ago got back into town from a long vacation with my family.
That's right. Yep.
That also, I have not gotten into the film of any of the week 0 stuff. Did get to watch it kind of on fast forward a little bit just because I was interested. There's some guys in there that I was interested in really, really getting a glimpse of. Rocco Beck being one, Avery Johnson, So I'd be lying, and I don't want to do it on day one of the podcast to kind of talk to something that I haven't really broken down yet. So,
okay, so I'll get into some thoughts here on this, but Mike, I know that you were the degenerate just like I was, probably all day in front of the TV, watching every game that was on. I mean, that's what I was saying. I have like 300 notes from Saturday alone right now. What did you like out of that Dublin game? What kind of stood out to you in terms of maybe there's a player that popped, bring him up, but I'm very curious what you were able to take away in terms of trends.
Iowa State is going to be a tough team to match up against this year. And I was the opposite of Emily. I was pleased with that game because I was on the Cyclones to cover that. But why I think Iowa State's going to be problematic for people going into the season, I expected they would go back to more 12 personnel, which we did see but not in a way I expected, not to the extremes. If you noticed, they would go traditional shotgun, one back, two tight end, two receiver, but they would also go empty out a gun with the same personnel on the field. When you can do that without allowing the defenses to make change, they're going to give a lot of people matchup problems doing that. So they're going to be a team that's going to be tough to they'll be able to stay balanced and get teams tilted one way or another on defense and take advantage of it, provided Beck can get a little better. He was not that impressive. But
I think that the quarterback play struggled because of the elements that they were playing in. Yeah. So I thought from an evaluating standpoint, looking at the quarterbacks, there was some stuff that you could kind of toss out and say, okay, I'm going to wait till next week when the elements are a little bit better and the ball's not wet and the field's not absolutely falling apart, because, they had to freaking paint the sidelines at halftime again because they were gone. So I think all of those things kind of factored in. But I do hear your point. We talked about this actually on Gridiron Eve 2 years ago when we were talking about the NFL and how these 12 personnel sets, if you could run, rapid sets and then move these guys into different situations, 12, 22 suddenly become really important, right? So I think that's great that you brought that up because that's exactly what we were talking about 2 years ago, is that, hey, if you've got two tight ends that you can move around, they don't have to just play in line or in the H-back role. You can put them in the slot. You can line them up wide. You got a running back that's a receiver. That's going to be a dangerous thing. Iowa State this year, or in this game, only used it in situations where they ran backed. And I think that probably changes as they get farther into the year, right? And they're not going to come out and show everything that they're going to run out of this shift and personnel move. But I think that the elements definitely played into it. They probably didn't want to throw the ball when they didn't have to.
No, I don't think either team did. Yeah.
Beck's legs are just good enough. He's got that gritty running ability to his game that makes him really interesting as a prospect. So kind of a more athletic Brock Purdy. And I'm not just saying that because Purdy played there. I was saying Brock Purdy when I was talking about Rocco Becht, because they're very similar.
Yeah.
So no, I thought that's great. That's a great point that you brought up. I was surprised. I was surprised at how good Jace Brown is. That Kansas State receiver became the offense when Dylan Edwards goes down with the ankle injury on the first punt return of the game, his first touch. He was the offense, and he was freaking good. There were a couple routes where, Iowa State brought everything, and he was wide open down the field. Nobody was going to cover him in deep coverage, and Avery just could not get the ball to him. But
he struggled.
I thought Jace Brown, and when Dylan Edwards comes back, if you can get Edwards healthy, I think when you have a situation where, you're struggling with an ankle injury straight out of the gate, we see a lot of guys struggle with that all year because they either try to come back too early or the complications that tend to happen in that area factor in through the grind of the season. So if they can get both of them healthy this year, that's going to be a really dangerous offense with Avery Johnson's legs. And the tight end, Oaks looked really good too.
Yeah. Yeah, both of those teams. It was obviously a massive game in the conference for Iowa State, but both of these teams will be conference contenders this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was, if you look at the Dublin game from last year when Georgia Tech played Florida State, like we were sitting there thinking this Florida State team, they're going to come back. They got to prove everybody that they're the national champions. Yeah. And then Georgia Tech beats them, and we're like, whoa, Georgia Tech might be legit. And it turned out they both sucked. Yeah. But they didn't really suck. But Georgia Tech's pretty good. But, that was kind of this is the opposite of that, where both these teams fought through the elements. They dominated the trenches, and dominating trenches. Dom Orange at Iowa State might be a first-round pick this year.
Yes. The Big Citrus himself.
Yeah. Yes, Big Citrus.
The Big
Best
Citrus.
nickname.
he moves for being a big guy. I really revel in just the way he can, he gets blockers off of him. The lateral quickness for a big man, is prevalent. He eats through double teams. There's a lot to like in Orange himself. First round might be. I mean, listen, it's August right now. Who knows what's going to happen? To me, it sounds a little rich right here, just because generally those one techs. You got to be super special to go in that. In the first 32 picks there. So let's see what happens throughout the rest of the year. But he's definitely somebody that I think is going to make the college football fans and scouts, open their eyes and look a little deeper at. He was dominant. He can be dominant.
I thought his third quarter performance specifically, like he just every single play, he was extremely disruptive. Strong interior run defender.
Yep.
And you mentioned the quick lateral quickness. He's such a good gap shooter, and he can work through double teams doing it. He was reminding me of Derek Brown at Auburn watching that game. And I thought that's what I was sitting there thinking. And I put that in my notes. I'm like, this guy, he's like Derek Brown. Like that's the type of player that I'm seeing. Derek Brown, I think went 8th overall, and it wasn't a great draft class that year, but the nose tackle position is becoming something that's more prevalent, the one tech, across the rest of the NFL. Last year, we had, I think, 17 or 18 teams that used one, like the traditional big body. That's the
two gapping type player, two gapping kind of guy.
Exactly. This year we're going to have 23. We just added another team to that we found out at the beginning of the preseason. I think I sent this report to you, I think in June, Mike. So we're up to 23 that are using a traditional nose tackle this year. And they want him to kind of two gap. So that's kind of the question is, can Dom two gap deep into games and play that, 40, 50% of snaps and still be at that effectiveness? But the athletic ability is there. The gap shooting ability is there. I thought he could two gap pretty well last year. This is a really hard game to do it in because, again, the field was an absolute mess. But, he plays like that all year. I think we're talking about him going in the top 25 of this class.
I can see it. Listen, again, it's so hard to put projections on guys so early in the season when you have a whole year to go. But as well as I do, and so does Hughes, and so does Emily. I'm sure, traits matter, especially at the NFL level. And when you're big. When you have the spot, when you have the size, when you have the speed, when you play with, when you're able to, generate power from the hips and play with leverage, that makes good interior defensive linemen. And so far, granted, one game this year and everything else that Dom has shown, he's got that. So top 25, maybe he climbs up there, even higher. I mean, heck, a couple years ago. Who was the kid that came out of Georgia? Well, I went to your Eagles. He went 13 overall. Davis,
yeah,
a couple years ago. I mean,
you ran 4.78 at 345 pounds.
4.8 at 300 and some odd pounds. Just like freak athlete. But you talked about a big guy like that who's not only can two gap but has the agility to shoot gaps and stuff like that. That's what I thought of. I thought of Jordan Davis in his Georgia time. Doing that stuff, being disruptive in the backfield, and doing it at 300 and some odd pounds, 50 pounds is just ludicrous. But yeah, he's a guy that I think is going to make a lot of noise come this draft cycle when this draft cycle really kicks in December, January, February.
So
I was going to say something last thing. I don't know if you're going to move on, but something that no one's talking about, that I've heard little talk about in this game, is the fact that the Pop-Tart showdown was terrible. I mean, they brought frosted wild berry and the frosted hot fudge sundae, two of the worst, in my opinion, Pop-Tarts. Thoughts on that? Which would you pick and how could they have done better?
Well, I'm gonna give this one to you guys because I'm really.
You never had a Pop-Tart?
No, I have. I'm not a big Pop-Tart person.
Oh,
but if you had to eat a Pop-Tart, you'd be going for like a classic, right?
Frosted
like the
strawberry.
Yeah.
Frosted strawberry, the double chocolate. That's my kids like.
Double chocolate.
Double chocolate. Oh yeah.
Lately, I'll try the cookies and cream ones. Are pretty good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I was just very disappointed in that matchup. So not great.
So as we went into the day, I don't want to like dive super deep into some of the FCS stuff because Dom, I'm totally nerding out over here. Okay, like I have probably a good 100 notes from FCS players that'll probably never see the field in the NFL, but it was just like, just in case they hit the portal or something, I know who they are. The first game that kind of went was the Portland State, Tarleton State. This was expected to kind of be a blowout. It was a little bit worse than expected. The spread, I think, was 16, and Tarleton State blew them out 42-0. There's one guy I'm just going to mention real quick because if he hits the portal, he's going to hit the portal next year. And I said this.
Is it the running back? Is it the running back that's young?
It's the running back at Tarleton State, Trey Page III. I said something about this on X, and immediately this random fan account from Tarleton State started telling me that I was not a good analyst because if I actually was an analyst, then I would know that Tarleton State doesn't surrender people to the transfer portal because they have NIL money. And I said, look, man, this guy's a redshirt freshman. He's got NFL traits. And if you think that he has any chance of staying at Tarleton State with the money that is projected to be going into college football next year and at the Division I Group of 4 level, there's no way. They're going to offer him like $2.5 million next year, and he's going to take it, and he's going to go play somewhere up in the Power 4. Like that guy.
When you said that to that guy, my thought was that this running next year, it's going to be like Ahmad Hardy or Fluff Bothwell. Like there's no way they stay at the schools they're at.
No.
You knew it from an early point.
No, yeah, Fluff Bothwell. I'm glad you brought him up because he's getting ready to play this week. He's at Mississippi State now, isn't he?
He is, and they play Southern Miss.
Yeah, they got Southern Miss. They got Charles Huff. So we touched on that matchup a little bit. Bothwell at South Alabama, like it was like first play. It was like this guy's not going to be here next year at all. He's gone. But that was the type of impact that Page brought because he looks like he's a 4.4 guy. He might be a sub 4.4. He's got good field vision, fairly capable with absorbing contact, and he's a good receiver out of the backfield. So he just hit he's a little bit more of a speed guy that'll probably fit into a gadget role, but you can always use that type of talent. He was unbelievable. He didn't even start the game. Their starting running back went down with an injury in the first quarter, and he ended up filling in and looked awesome. So I wanted to make sure I pointed him out because that dude is special.
Tarleton has a good program too. Todd Witten's a very good coach. They have used at Sam Houston State when I was at Northwestern State, so we played them. Yeah, they consistently have a couple guys that you're at least watching. I know that they had a receiver that I think he transferred to Nevada. Oh, take that, troll! You lost that receiver to Nevada. Yeah, I bet that guy's watching now, John.
But honestly, exactly. Tarleton State might have more NIL than Nevada, so I wouldn't use that as an example.
Well, it happened. That's what I'm saying. It happened. That guy went to Nevada.
It wasn't because of the NIL, though. I'm just okay.
It was that receiver.
He's not wrong because he cited that. He's wrong in general, but he's not wrong because of the NIL situation.
Oh no! I was just pointing out that they'll transfer anyways.
Of course.
It happens.
It does happen.
So is he He's a sophomore. He's a true sophomore.
He's a redshirt freshman.
He's a redshirt freshman.
So he's not even draft eligible this year.
Yeah.
He's going to be on some radars. Remember what we kind of saw from Jaden Lucas at Indiana a couple years ago? He's that kind of player. So he's going to get a look somewhere. Like they're going to come after him. UNLV Idaho State, I think, was a lot closer than people were expecting. Mike, I'm going to default to you on that because I'm sure you probably hammered that spread.
Actually, that was the one game of the 5 I got wrong.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you take?
And I will say it was against my better judgment because of the line. In looking at the previews before, it's the inclination was that Idaho State would be able to run the ball well, and they did. And I should have. I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight, but I was wrong on that one. I thought that, and I also, part of me felt like in his first game, Mullen wouldn't take the foot off the gas late, and that they would just keep going. So, I whiffed on that one, but nonetheless it was a fun game to watch.
It was a good one. Dason Brooks, the Idaho State running back, number 28, he stood out. Awkward body type, really awkward running form, but somehow just breezed by some really good defenders. UNLV's got some guys to keep an eye on this year, and he looked really good running against that secondary. So I'm gonna keep an eye on him. I don't know, because you don't see guys with that awkward body build typically go play pro, because it's like that build scares people off. But if he runs like that all year through the FCS, guys like that, they're going to have to give him a look at some point. And it might be down at the American Bowl, where I'll probably be this year. So, Anthony Calandria surprised me. Now, Mike, did you knew about him because he was at Virginia?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I didn't really watch him. I watched one game. I guess it was probably the worst game I could have, and I wrote him off. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not watching this guy again." And he absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, good player. He was one who I was a little surprised in that game, or not that game, with UNLV, that people were saying up until week 1 that it was a QB battle. I had seen enough of him to know he was a lot better than Alex Orji, because he is a competent thrower. Orji is not.
Yeah.
So Orji did, he'll continue to do what he does, and that's run the ball 5 times a game and throw it twice. But Calandria is going to be the guy. If they're going to be competitive in the Mountain West, and I think they get a lot better. They played a ton of guys in that game. Everybody on that roster probably played. I do think we see them get a lot better, and they'll have to all get better, including Calandria, for them to be conference contenders. But he's a pretty good player. I mean, he completed 15 of 21, almost 200 yards, didn't turn the ball over, and then he ran the ball for just under 100 yards as well, 93. So I was saying, Orji will run the ball some. Calandria's not a bad runner either.
Did they have packages for Orji in this game?
Yeah.
I didn't catch this one at all. So this is another one that I have.
This one,
to get into.
I didn't even think I was going to be able to watch it, because I didn't realize that you could just go to mountainwest.com and watch it. Until after the game started, and I was on Twitter and I saw some people saying, "Where's the game?" "Oh, go to the mountainwest.com. You can watch." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll pull it up on my tablet. Cool, let's do it." And
it worked.
It was.
I got the website on my phone and streamed it on the TV.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But it was tight. It was a good game. But Calandria really surprised me, because I thought his arm was a lot better than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah.
He can push the ball down the field. He's got some real firepower behind it. You mentioned the running ability. He's explosive. He's a capable improviser. Does a good job making defenders miss. I'd like to see him protect himself better as a runner. He's not the biggest guy, and he'll extend plays way too long and take some really egregious sacks.
He took shots last year because of that too.
Yeah. And I think he missed a couple games last year too, didn't he, at Virginia? Yeah.
At least one. So, yeah, I don't know how many.
That's one thing I'd like to see him clean up a little bit, but I was like, oh, there's some tools here to work with. He's gonna be fun.
And the quarterback on the other side, Cook. What are your thoughts? I mean, he's a big boy.
Backyard style quarterback.
He is a big boy.
He is large. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's 6'5", something like that.
Yeah. 235. Turn it over too much. I don't know that he makes it. he turned it
6'4",
over.
234. This is what we call in my world the thickness quotient, and I think it's important when it comes to quarterbacks. And people don't talk about it enough. But a thick king is a king that will survive in the NFL. And I've been pushing
Josh
for
Allen.
the thickness. Yeah, I mean the list goes on. Like we start with Ben Roethlisberger and work our way down, but like thick kings survive longer. And so I love Jordan Cook. Like, will he ever see the field? I don't know, but he's fun. I like him. He'll survive whatever you throw at him.
Yeah.
It was a straight up backyard quarterback. I mean, very low release point.
He's from Santa Rosa, California. Let's go. That's where I'm from.
Playing all the way up in Idaho, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. The mechanics were awful.
Okay.
He
doesn't throw with a lot of accuracy down the field. He underthrows the deep ball, but he's a really interesting improviser, and it's just straight up backyard football. Like there were free rushers coming off the edge about to hit him, and he's running straight at him and just like pops it over him to the running back who's right there. Like there's stupid stuff, like just straight up backyard football. I was like, interesting, but probably not going to get a look. You know, I mean, I'll take a look later on in the year just to kind of see, but the mechanics were terrible as a passer when they asked him to actually sit in the pocket and throw. I know he put up some stats in the game, but they were not indicative of any professional ideas or success or futures. Fresno State, Kansas. I know you were watching this one, Mike. I already know.
I was. One of my favorite hires of the offseason was Entz. Thought it was a good hire.
Entz is incredible.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah, he was obviously at NDSU. He was great. He was 16-11 in 5 years there. Won 2 national titles.
Yep.
They got worked over. Kansas looked very good.
Yeah.
And Kansas's record probably wasn't that 5-7 last year. Finished stronger. They were in a lot of close games. Before that, they'd made several bowl games with Lance Leopold, who took over the worst power conference team when he got there. They're going to be a bowl team again this year. That I think they're going to be pretty good. If Daniels can stay healthy. He has not done that in his college career yet.
He got close last year. I think he missed one game last year. But he was playing through injuries most of the year.
Yes.
So, and it looked like he hurt his ankle in this one at one point, I think in the second or third quarter.
Yeah.
He was hobbling around.
I thought it was before halftime. Yeah.
I think it was the second quarter.
Yeah.
This Fresno State had some interesting players. First off, I got to shout out my guy, Finn Claypool, edge rusher, all underrated team 2024. Back when he was at Drake, double-digit sacks, 2 years at Drake. Some of the production here, as I pull it up, is pretty darn insane, actually. He had the 1 sack that Fresno had in this game. And it was a total hustle play, but he got it. So he's had 15 tackles for loss or more in each of the last 3 years, at 12.5 sacks in 23, 10 and 24, 5 forced fumbles in 23 as well. So he strikes at the ball when he hits, and he's a little bit undersized. He's put on some weight at Fresno. He went from 230 to 245 this offseason, and that's verified. So I liked that. And he's a guy that I'm really interested in with the future. I'm very excited about. The other interesting player here, before you get to the quarterback, is Corey Foreman. And I'm bringing him up.
5-star recruit, massive recruit. Yeah.
Like almost like I think a couple sites had him listed as the number 1 prospect of the year he came out.
Yeah.
Has not lived up to it at any level. In fact, last year was pretty underwhelming at Fresno State after transferring from Southern California. Is this a guy that's going to get it all together and come and be a professional prospect this year? This is his last year of eligibility unless he redshirts. So it's his last chance to get it all together. So does he do it? Didn't see a lot that impressed me in this one so far.
He didn't stand. You noticed him. You heard the name. He didn't stand out much. So yeah, I think that's where he's maybe one of the. He wasn't bad, but maybe he's just a guy and not a dude at that level.
Capable tackler. That was about it. That's all I got. Capable rapid tackler is a run defender. He made a couple decent plays on the boundary. So I was like, not great.
One of their D linemen, I'll be curious to watch. There's Martin Owusu, who transferred from Minnesota. And that the only reason I know just because he's a Minnesota guy. That's how I
he popped.
Knew who he was.
Popped.
But he'll be an interesting guy out there.
EJ Warner, Kurt's son, is quarterback Fresno. I was blown away with some of the shit that he did.
Blown away in a good way or a bad way? Okay.
Yes. Now, because it wasn't a great performance altogether. I think they really, that Kansas offense or defense wore them down into the late second quarter and the rest of the game. It was pretty pitiful. But in that second quarter, he made 3 really damn good throws where he's got somebody's coming straight up the interior. He's about to get hit. He fades to his back foot, delivers a beautiful ball. There were 3 of them. I went back and I looked because I was talking about this on the pod, this morning. But I was like, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3. It was 3. And that people don't understand how special that is to be able to fade your back foot, make a good throw 25 yards down the field, including the space you are behind the line of scrimmage, get it there with velocity and accuracy. And he was doing it. So there were flashes. The decision making hopefully gets cleaned up a little bit. I think Kurt, his dad's already pointed out that he's better at this point in his life than he was. So that's a promising sign. And as long as he can get a decent year together, we know that the NFL is not going to overlook a Fresno State quarterback because Mr. Jake Haener is still employed in the NFL.
He sure is. Well, I'm glad to see EJ, land in a place to get, a little bit of notoriety. He wasn't going to do anything at Temple. I mean, that program
or Rice.
Or Rice for that matter. Temple's my alma mater, and it's been bad since I graduated way back yonder. And
you had the bright year or two with Rule.
Correct.
I mean, you had Al Golden, Adazio, Jeff Collins, and Rule all got better jobs from being there.
Yeah, but
they left before the job was done.
The thing with Temple, which is always going to be the problem, it's just it's tough to recruit kids that want to come down into North Philadelphia when the same prize pool can go out to Happy Valley or down to Maryland or Pitt or all the other schools. But I'm glad to see EJ Warner get somewhere where he can get a little bit of notoriety. I think he's a work in progress. I do. I don't, and I believe he's still got another year to really. Is this his 4th year? Is he a senior? Did he play 2 at Rice?
I'm checking for you right now.
No, 2 at Rice, 1 at Temple?
He's 2 at Temple.
He played 2 at Temple.
1 at Rice. That's right.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a red shirt, so unless he gets hurt.
If you guys read my article, you would know this, but I did a feature on EJ Warner. I've known him for a long time since he started at Temple. And I did a feature on him prior to the season starting. He doesn't like to talk to the media. He's not a big media guy, but we've known each other a while. And so he opened up about his journey and his family and what it's like having all this going on, and the trajectory of the course of his path through college football has been difficult because they've never built out a line around him. And I think that's the biggest thing. And it appears at Fresno State that might be a little bit of an issue as well. But I think that the connection between him and Entz and the play calling, they're on the same page. Because if you go back and watch, I know, John, you're talking about later, he made these great throws, but his first 5 passes, he went 5 for 5. That first opening drive and then the first quarter itself, the script was really good. And he's good at following the script. He's good at communicating with his head coach. So I think this is going to be, that's just a tough opening draw. That's just kind of an impossible ask. $450 million stadium, everyone's celebrating. That's okay. Let's see when he plays Georgia Southern this week. It's going to be better. And I think it's going to be a good year for him. So we're going to see. He's grown a lot as a player, and he's grown a lot physically. He used to be tiny. I have a picture standing next to him at Media Day freshman year. he and Michael Pratt stood next to each other and they looked like father son. And then now he kind of looks more like Pratt. He put on like 30 pounds over this course. He's really been hitting the weight room and he's a strong kid now. So I'm excited to watch him.
Yeah, and the thing with him too, I think that you point out is he is really good following the script. Mm-hmm. What happened in this game was they got down by 10 points.
Yeah.
And he went out there and tried to make a superstar throw. And so that's where that's where he's going to have the issue is if he can develop that decision making and say, okay, it's 10 points. We're in the second quarter. We got plenty of time. Yeah, the momentum's going away from us, but let's just go out here and execute. That's the type of game manager that plays in the NFL.
Yeah, he takes on a lot. I mean, that's always been his mentality is to kind of take on too much, and he's had to do that. Look at where he was. He did that at Temple. He had to do it at Rice. But you see flashes of his game, like when he and Luke McCaffrey connected. Those were incredible plays. And when he gets a guy that he can trust and he believes in it, it's going to be good. And he said there's some receivers there, so we'll have to see if anybody stands out from the receiving core. But yeah, he needs to not take the whole game on his shoulders and just kind of listen to Entz. I think Entz will get him there. I really do. I have a good feeling about Entz is going to surprise people at Fresno State. They're not going to have a miraculous season, but I think they're going to win more games than people realize, and people might start paying attention to Fresno State again.
They're going to be competitive for sure, I think.
Yeah.
And Mike, you probably have some sort of insight on this too, knowing you.
I think they're an 8-win team.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's
right.
That might be best case.
Yeah.
But I think with them, you're going to see they'll become very foundational this year. They'll focus on the trenches and building from the inside out, which I think will also help them develop a culture like Entz wants to. So this year it'll be about getting them in the system. We'll see limited growth with that, but some growth.
Yeah.
And down the road, I think we'll see them being a conference contender in year 3, maybe even next year.
He's going to build it. Their travel schedule this year is so tough. They have to go to Oregon State, Hawaii, which is always tough, Boise State, San Jose State. I mean, these are all tough travel games.
And I'm very high on Colorado State this year, and they go there too.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I always want to be high on Colorado State, but it's tough.
Yeah. They got an old Fowler Nicolosi's been there a while. They got a veteran group.
Okay. I haven't been out there since I did a story on Trey McBride, and those were fun years, but it's been, I love that program. I love to see them do well. It's good. So.
Okay. So just making sure before we move to the next topic here, because we never really solidified this in the group chat, but are we going to talk about Stanford?
Oh my God.
Or are we gonna put this one off?
Why don't you talk about Hawaii and just leave Stanford out of it? Because that's what they did. Okay.
I mean, as someone who focuses on the coaching carousel, Stanford is an all-season topic for me because we don't know who it's going to be yet.
Andrew Luck should just coach the team and let's be done with it. I mean, that's
I have strong opinions. A team you just mentioned a few minutes ago, they should get that team's head coach.
Fresno.
San Jose State.
San Jose. I can't.
He'd be a good one.
No.
Yeah, he'd be a good one.
I mean, he would be a good one, but I can't do that to San Jose State. I can't.
That's fair. Yeah.
I can't. It's such a good marriage there. Obviously, like he's got to leave if he's got to leave because of the money, and I get that. But I've never seen Ken Niumatalolo this happy in my entire life. And I've known him throughout his time at Navy, at UCLA. He really opened up and now he's so happy. If he goes to Stanford, I'll be happy for him, but I'll be sad. I'll be sad for the Spartans.
I don't know. I'm just saying, I think that would be, I'm not basing it off of anything other than my own.
I think they're a little wary of Bay Area coaches after the last go of it, but maybe. That was tough.
Yeah.
No, you guys can talk about it. It's fine. Hawaii played really great. Stanford doesn't have a good quarterback. They have a great running back. The end.
Alejado's a good player.
Who's
the running back at Stanford? Is it Ford?
Micah Ford, yeah.
Ford, yeah.
I love him.
Micah Ford was the bright spot on that offense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Shield Taylor too. If I gotta or not Shield Taylor, Sam Roush. My bad.
Oh, we love Roush, of course.
Roush was freaking phenomenal. Like, as a tight end, he's a good receiver underneath. He's a very good downhill run blocker. Consistent. I had that twice. Consistently good downhill run blocker. I mean, there were plays there, even on that touchdown where it looked like Stanford was about to win it and they took the lead. He just freaking mauled a dude into the end zone. I think it was a linebacker, and just put him down and pancaked him on the ground. And he was doing that the entire game. It was freaking awesome. So I loved Roush in this game.
You guys will like this one. I woke up Sunday morning to a text from my dad. That Gall Branson's not very good. You are right, Dad. He is not.
It was painful at times.
Yeah.
Because you can see he knows what he's looking at. Okay, so that he understands the game. He understands what he's looking at. He just can't get the ball there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you fix that as a quarterback. I don't know. If he's missing underneath throws, he's going high, he's going low, he's being affected by pressure at every single time. He's not a scrambler. So he's practically a statue back there, so he doesn't even have that to lean on. If this is the best that Stanford has right now, like what has happened to that quarterback room?
And if you're going to get your ass kicked, at least do it with a younger guy, not him.
I know, but that's the problem. Is Stanford is notorious. So my dad went to Stanford. I got my start in the industry covering Stanford, so it's very near and dear to my heart. I had to obviously step away because it's hard to be a fan and do what we do. So I haven't dealt with them as a media in a while, but we go to every game. We have season tickets, and the quarterback struggle has been so real there because they, as a program, refused to play freshmen. David Shaw refused. He would not play freshmen. Christian McCaffrey, he wouldn't play. I can't think of the running back right now. Bryce Love when he was a freshman. Love. Yeah. Just none of them. It was so bad that Barry Sanders Jr. had to transfer. It's just they won't play young talent, and so they get themselves in these predicament where they recruit quote unquote good quarterbacks, right? They get good star recruits, but then won't utilize them when they need them. So I don't, and they don't.
That was one of his demises, not just with QBs, but they recruited some like a Walker Little's a good example. You recruit these great guys, then you don't develop them, they don't turn out.
Don't even get me started on the David Shaw. I'm just glad that he's gone out of the program.
Great coach. But people don't I give him a lot of credit for his first probably 7-8 years there. He was fantastic.
Oh, you mean when he inherited Harbaugh's game plan and just ran it into the ground? Yeah.
He had 10-9, but he had 12, 10-9 win seasons with his own guys too.
Yeah.
But they were the guys that were blueprinted for him, and all he had to do was follow a blueprint. But the problem is the players told us that when they didn't like him. There's a reason you never saw Christian McCaffrey on the sideline at a Stanford game until later. There's a reason that you never saw Solomon Thomas back. You never saw Josh Garnett, who played for the Niners down the road, never came to a game. Richard Sherman never came back to a game because they didn't. Shaw was not a player's coach. He actually sat across from guys, and when they brought issues to him, he said, "This is Stanford. You're lucky to be here." That's a direct quote. So there was a big problem with how he dealt with that. He was more of a shill for the school, which that you can do that as a head coach. Yeah. You can choose that route, right? But then guys are not going to want to die for you, and it wasn't the same after Harbaugh. They tried to have the tunnel workers union, the blue collar guys, and they couldn't get them because those guys would not put their lives on the line for David Shaw. That's a whole nother podcast.
What I was going to say too, then, I was defending him at first, but then it really flipped from the year before COVID and after. Nothing went right for him after that. They were an awful team from 2019 on.
Yeah. It's a little known secret. That's what happened because guys never really came out and said it, but they have told people about what happened. And then, with everything with Shannon Turley, I don't know if you remember the strength coach and what happened with him.
I do.
That was horrific, and his firing and what he did was crazy. So they had a lot of issues and they needed to clean house sooner than they did. So I'm just glad that they got some people in there that seem to care about the program, the players. They have a new athletic director that's going to be We needed to get Bernard Muir out as well. So it's going to be better, but not this year, obviously.
No.
Somebody said that Stanford's like the worst team in the nation. Is that confirmed?
I don't know if I'd say they're
close to it. Maybe
somebody on Reddit said that. And I was like,
I'm trying to think if they'd be the worst Power 4 team.
mm-hmm.
They probably are.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because I think Purdue will be a little better than they were last year. But the margins are so fine when we're talking this bad. So they probably are the worst Power team.
Sweet.
Yeah, Mississippi State might be close.
Rutgers
I think
is pretty
they're-
bad as well. Not that bad. Maybe.
No.
Not that bad.
Yeah, Rutgers might get 5 wins out of the year, you know?
Which I'm okay. I can't stand. Rutgers is the one school that will not credential Kim and I. We do not know why. Won't credential us ever.
It's Greg Schiano. It's Greg Schiano.
I don't know what their problem is, but we're basically offering up free coverage, and they're like, no thanks.
We're good.
He's went to a bowl game 3 of the last 4 years. He's doing all right. So
I mean, I know, but especially as women in this industry, they have not a lot of women on their beat in general. And so we were like, hey, we want to come out. We travel around the country. Like, we would love to cover you. No.
Interesting.
No, so and Rutgers is on my list. I have a list, and Rutgers is on it. A Rutgers Stanford game would be unwatchable.
Rutgers would win by 30 in that game right now, too. Because they're at least good in the trenches, and they'd run the ball.
That's true. And that used to be Stanford's identity. That's what's so frustrating about all this, is they were the tunnel workers union. That was their identity. And somewhere along the way that faded out because Shaw did not develop and bring in tough guys like that. And then they lost that moniker.
Well, the one thing that Frank Reich's going to have to do this year is rein some of those guys in with the culture. And, I mean, you go back to that. They had Hawaii about to punt down by 3 with 4 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And Clay Patterson, who played really well at Yale when he was there, comes up with a big play and then makes a stupid celebration, that draws the flag, gives them the first down, so there's a culture change that also has to take place that Reich has to be on top of, which is hard. He came in late, into the process. He's the interim head coach. And he wasn't in the program before, so he's figuring out a lot of stuff too. But that's something that they're going to have to rein in this year.
We should not waste any more time on it.
But yes,
let's talk Conference USA since Emily doesn't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, Conference USA.
Let's go.
Well, and it's a good segue because we were talking about Fresno. They play Sam Houston this weekend.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or
Fresno State plays Georgia Southern.
No, who plays? Someone plays Sam Houston that we were just talking about.
Yeah,
Western Kentucky played Sam Houston.
Does Hawaii play Sam Houston? Does Hawaii play Sam Houston?
Let me see.
I'm looking right now. Sorry, I saw this too, and I was like, "Ooh, this is interesting," because both these teams.
Yeah, Hawaii.
UNLV plays Sam Houston. That's it. It was someone we were talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, they
UNLV
have
UNLV plays Sam Houston.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Friday. Yes, and then they play Hawaii. Okay, yes.
But okay, so Sam Houston.
UNLV at Sam Houston.
So I got to shout out their head coach. He was the offensive coordinator of Wisconsin, and Longo. Thank you. I was sitting there and I was like, I was wanting to say Lonzo because I Muppets guy over here.
I didn't know you were.
No. I was sitting there. I was like, it's not Lonzo. I know it's not Lonzo.
Okay.
Big
Phil
Muppets
Longo,
guy here.
Yeah.
No, Phil Longo.
Mm-hmm.
This is a homecoming for him.
Mm-hmm.
He did pretty well with the portal, from what I saw.
He did,
and they got 2 really damn good running backs that they're going to be able to lean on with that quarterback Hunter Watson this year. He's going to run the ball a good bit.
Yeah, Elijah Green's a good running back. He was a guy that
North Carolina
most of the offseason, I talked him up quite a bit. But they're obviously Western Kentucky got the win in that game and covered, but it was more nip and tuck for a while because right at the beginning of the third quarter, Sam Houston got the 2 scores to go ahead, and then Western Kentucky took over from there. But was a time in the third quarter where Sam Houston was winning in that game.
Mm-hmm. They had the fumble that they took back for the touchdown after the big run. I think it was Was it McCaskill or was it Watson that ran it in? I forget.
McCaskill had the touchdown. McCaskill.
That's right.
And then Jameer Diaz was the one that had the fumble return. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They have players, you know. The defense, a couple guys popped. Jaden Scott popped.
Okay.
Alonzo Edwards Jr. popped. Antavius Fish popped. That's another North Carolina transfer, if memory serving correct. These guys, they've got some players, and they're gonna be pretty darn good in the Conference USA this year. But Western Kentucky is just so much better, though.
We were talking about, you know, the one, you know, technique D lineman before. They're going to have Zequai Lawton is a transfer from West Virginia, who I think this year some people will notice there. He should be an all right player.
Oh, yeah. And Matthew Henry, I think, was the guy that popped for Western Kentucky. Wide receiver, number 17.
Yeah, he looked good.
He looked good. Mavis Parrish, the running back 21, looked really good.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing pretty much everything that you needed him to do. Consistent runner between the tackles, could get outside, had the quickness to turn the corner. I was like, oh, he's a capable receiver because I think he had a drop in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then he comes back with a wheel route 20 yards down the field over the shoulder in the end zone touchdown. And I was like, okay, no, he can catch down the field. He's pretty darn good. I like him.
Yeah. Parrish is another one of those freshmen who we might see at a Power 4 next year.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely looked like he doesn't belong on this field.
And he looks the part too physically. You know, I'm guessing he's a $195 or so, 200.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's pretty good sized guy. So I think he is a guy we will see somewhere else. But this year, I mean, WKU is almost everybody's favorites to at least make, if not win, the conference title down there.
Yeah.
They're going to be a solid team.
Yeah.
And they showed it. You know, McIver looked good at QB.
Where did he come? He came from one of those Texas
Abilene Christian.
Abilene. That's right. Abilene. That's right. I knew he came from one of them. I was like, I don't think it was Tarleton. It was purple.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do that all year now. Point out every freaking Tarleton State transfer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring up the HBCUs really quick because we had North Carolina Central open up against Southern in the kickoff game. Interesting. There were a couple guys that I thought were interesting. On the North Carolina Central side, I liked Christian Mosley, running back number 1. North Carolina Central consistently has a good running back. Consistently. And Mosley fits the bill for the next guy to kind of step up into that. He had good short burst. He breaks angles with it when he's working to the boundary so he can turn the corner. Again, I don't want to say that the HBCUs, the level is not comparable to the NFL, but it's tough sometimes to make that you know, adjustment. The athletic ability on the field is just not where it needs to be. But Mosley was a good step above everyone else there, so I liked him. And then I brought this up on the pod this morning, but I'm going to go ahead and bring him up again because we have the fullback queen here. Mike Franklin, number 7 for Southern, plays running back, will be a fullback, and looks like he's got the skill set to potentially play in the NFL. So I liked him potentially probably as a tryout guy that gets on a 90-man and at least comes in and competes during the training camp. I'd be interested in giving him a shot. I don't know if anybody else watched that game. I'm telling you, I was totally nerding out on Saturday.
I watched some HBC or not. I watched some FCS ball. Did not see that game.
That one I think was on ABC, and so thank God for YouTube TV this year, straightening out the boxes, the 4 boxes you can put on the screen.
Oh yeah.
Like last year, it was so limited as to, I guess, because of the contracts that they had with, like, you know, ESPN. Fox didn't want to be on with the major ESPN stuff, so it was really hard to get the games. This year, totally different. I mean, you can match any game with anything you want. It's all there. So I was able to get everything up on the screen that I wanted to see and utilize the tablet because I think at one time we had 5 games going at once. So was able to do that effectively. So shout out YouTube TV. Thank you for fixing that this year. I don't know what you guys had to do contract wise, but it was amazing. But yeah, that was a good. It wasn't a great game in terms of competitiveness, but there were flashes that you saw from guys. I think the Southern quarterback Cameron McCoy, not going to play quarterback if he gets a shot at the NFL, but he's got a shot to be an H-back, type tight end. Really explosive runner. Kind of reminded me of Bryce Perkins, but a little bit thicker. So I was interested. So he had a 65-yard touchdown run at one point where he just blazed past everybody. And I was like, oh, okay, he's got some wheels. At least 4.6. So that puts him in the tight end conversation.
He initially he played for Dion at Jackson State for a year before going to Southern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was recruited there.
So that probably gives you a good indicator to the talent level as well.
Yeah.
Because
the other one, it's funny you had mentioned NFL for him. I know McCoy's a very good baseball player, like
really
draftable level. Yeah, very good baseball player.
I can see that.
Yeah,
he's got a short torso and he's got long legs, and I think that's why he reminded me of Perkins.
Yeah,
at least in the way that he's kind of built like that. But I could see him, like, you could see that he had a cannon on that arm. He just doesn't rein it very well.
I think I was reading this off season, and they said like 97, 98 mile an hour fastball.
Really,
so,
I can believe. He had a couple deep balls that were beautiful. They were just a little bit off, but yeah, I could see that. He might be a better baseball player. I'd have to look at him in baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me start with Dom because let's get Dom involved here. Week 1, we'll not spend too much time on week 1 because we're already an hour in, and I know poor Jimmy back there, the producer, is probably like, I can't believe it's still going.
Yeah.
So, if we roll, Jimmy, if I make fun of you, I love you. It's okay. We're good. Here, so top players that you're interested in seeing this week. Do you have any guys that stand out?
Oh man, early in the season, I think my attention always goes to the bigger positions. So I'm curious to see some of these quarterbacks. I'm curious to see Raiola play tomorrow. I'm not sure, in just being honest, I'm not sure how Cincinnati's going to fare against Nebraska. Raiola is a guy that I'm interested in seeing. I'm actually, and the one guy I think I will say that I'm super, super excited to see, because I spent a lot of time in his film over the past couple years, is I'm curious to see the Carson Beck revival down in Miami.
Yeah.
Listen, things didn't go well for him last year, but
things didn't go well for him this offseason either.
Yeah, not on the social stance for sure, but at least in between the sidelines. Listen, I think that there's something there. I think he's got an NFL arm. I like, I like the way that he can, see that he sees the field. He can make NFL throws. He can make that far sideline. He, kind of takes the velocity up or down wherever it's necessary. I like a lot of his, I like his upper body mechanics. I think he's a little stiff. I think he's a little stiff-hipped. And without that ankle flexion, he's not the most mobile guy. But I want to see him in this offense. I want to see him free of everything that was, in Athens and kind of, set anew here in Miami. And it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a big test. And he went from no doubt top 5 pick to last year. I mean, he came back to school. I'm sure NIL had a lot to play with it, but probably wasn't going to get drafted before, on day 1 or 2. So
yeah,
I think he's got a lot riding for him, and I'm really looking forward to see how he adjusts and how he takes on the pressure, man. I know a lot of people said that, on the field, some of his leadership kind of lacks, and maybe, he let all the, the extracurricular stuff kind of getting, muddy his waters or his vision. So hopefully that's all behind him, and I want to see him really, really come up and step up and play.
Yeah, I'm with you all the way, because I'm worried about the decision making, because if you're going to be a quarterback in the NFL, like let's act professional.
Yes.
In all ways, and he wasn't that this offseason at all. So that concerns me just a little bit. I should say more than a little bit, but you're spot on. The tools are all there.
Yep.
He's got everything that you need to be a good quarterback in the NFL. Was it the pressure last year? Was it we won the Natty, we're going into the year with big expectations? Did that kind of get to him that the Ole Miss game was awful, that he played. There were a couple games last year. The Ole Miss one pops out at me immediately, but there are a couple games last year he looked terrible, and it was totally the opposite of anything we had seen the year prior. So, yeah, it's going to be a huge year for him. Miami has a lot of high expectations as well. That's a school that chronically underperforms. So if he's going to make a point this year, getting them, I think, to 10 wins is going to be a must, to show that, hey, like, the pressure, I can handle it. I've learned whatever all that is. And so he can go into the draft process with, a better situation.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I'm not comparing the players at all. So hear me out on this. Just walk with me. A couple years ago when Cam Ward was up at Washington State and he thought about coming out, I know that a lot of people saw him as a day 2 guy, early day 2, maybe even late day 2. Need a little bit more season and needed to sharpen some stuff up. And he went down to Miami and absolutely, killed it. The offense was, really, really fit for him. I think he played great last year. I'm hoping that same transition happens with Carson Beck, because like I said, I think that he's got an NFL caliber, arm. I think you put him in the right offense. He's a good pocket passer. Get him something with those horizontally stretching, that doesn't have to really rear back and heave that deep ball, but you put him something where he can be successful, high percentage throws and stuff like that. I think he can be a starter in this league eventually. I know, he's going to be a little bit older, but, I want to see that transition from Georgia to Miami, just like we saw with Cam Ward from Washington.
Well, age isn't such a factor at the quarterback position anymore.
Correct.
And we've seen.
We just saw Sharp get drafted at 36?
Yeah, in second round. The guys that have a lot of starts have been the guys that have been really good as rookies. Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
Those guys had 50-plus starts in college, and it showed as soon as they stepped on the field and played.
Yep.
So that is almost a positive at this point with all the rules that college football has, and this is really the last year that we're going to see the remnants of the COVID year hitting. And then beyond, after this, we're done with that. That's gone. So then that might adjust the quarterback position again. But there's one more year where it's going to be like, hey, this is a good thing. We're not too worried about it. We'll be fine. The thing I think that's different about Beck compared to Ward, I hear you with it. And I'm not going to say athletic ability because that's obvious. But the one thing I can say about Ward, I have criticisms with Ward. I'm not so sure he's going to fit very well in the NFL. I want to see what happens when he gets rocked a couple times week 1 in a Titans jersey before I make any real assessment on how he's going to be. He is an elite galvanizer. Mm-hmm. There is not anybody in college football last year that could galvanize people the way that Ward could. And you saw that with that entire team. So Beck, is the absolute opposite of that. You know, if he took the working genius class, I don't know what it's coming out, but like galvanizer's at the freaking bottom of it. You know what I mean? So like, that's not his strength. So that's what concerns me is Ward gets guys to gravitate to him and he inspires them and they play hard for him. Does Beck have that same type of ability? And it's okay if you don't, but you have to have some sort of trait that at least gets everybody on the same page and gets everybody to play together. And that's a hard thing to do. That's why, like me, I'm not a galvanizer. That's why I'm not huge on social media. That's why I'm not like this big, like draft person. It's because I'm a total nerd. I'll do all the work and that's cool. I'll never be a head coach for that reason. And that's fine. That's not my role. So for Beck, he's got to find that strength that he can lean into, whatever it is, and make that the identity of that offense that gets everybody to play on the same page. And that's going to be a challenge. So that's what worries me about Beck. I do agree that he is one of the main storylines of this week, that Notre Dame defense is going to be a handful. They're going to throw all kinds of different stuff at him. Emily already knows I freaking love Marcus Freeman. So like, he's one of the three guys. I put this list out this morning. One of the three guys I'd run through a brick wall for. And
I can name the other two.
So
Nick Saban.
Yep. Spencer Danielson.
And Spencer Danielson.
So I'm interested to see a different quarterback that I'm going to point out, and that's Garrett Nussmeier at LSU.
He was one of the guys I would have said for this too. I'm not convinced he's healthy.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's right. He had the injury scare.
Yeah, let me stop you guys there because I did catch wind of some possible injury accident stuff that happened, and I couldn't really put my finger on it or make heads or tails if it was just smoke or if there was something factual behind it.
They're being very coy about it.
Yeah, they're
knee. Yeah.
Yeah, they were being there was a scare. But they said he's good to go. But I just want to see a jump from last year. I want to see a noticeable difference in his processing. And he's going to have the absolute hellfire thrown at him going into Clemson, night game. That's going to be absolutely insane.
That defensive front for Clemson is
Peter Woods and Parker off the edge. Yeah, they're deep, and they can rotate guys, and they're going to be bringing the pressure all night. So the receiver help there is not what it was last year either for LSU. So it's going to be more on Nuss. And this is his opportunity. I've compared him to Baker Mayfield. That's who he reminds me of. I think that's the type of player that he is. I don't know about the personality yet. I know that he's obviously his dad is offensive coordinator with the Saints. That's why I went ahead and went out on a limb and said I think he's going to be the first overall pick to the New Orleans Saints in 2026. Because, you got to throw things at the wall, see if it sticks sometimes, have some fun with it. But that's what I want to see that jump. I'm expecting to see that jump. And if he comes out there and they put an opening drive together and they go score a touchdown in Clemson, oh man, we are going to be in for a feast Saturday night. That is going to be game of the year type stuff. Is what it's going to turn into.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with him. Is he's got to mature a little bit in the pocket. He's got to, that learning how to play. Like there's so much natural talent and arm talent that he has. Now he's got to learn how to play the position a little better. He's just got to fine tune some stuff. Some of that process and stuff, that the happy feet that he, it seems to, tends to get. He's got to work through that stuff. Now you take also into the fact, I would like to see him put on a little bit extra weight. I think it'll help him take some of the beating, and I think some of the physical, the physicality and the beatings that he takes kind of plays into some of those, poor decision making, while in the pocket, bad anticipatory throws and stuff like that. Just let me get rid of the ball real quick because I don't know if I want to take another hit like that. So,
and that's an emphasis that he needs to fix, because last year he had the 4th overall pick protecting his blind side, and he had a 2nd round pick on the other side to tackle. So. Yeah,
and he had a 5th round pick on the 2 5th round picks on the interior
and the inside. Yeah, so the offensive line was really good last year, and he took hits because he held on to the ball too long. He was looking for the big play. So, yeah, perfect. He's got to find that balance between those two. So,
he hunts it. He listen. I don't know if he's if Brian Kelly's kind of instructing him or coaching him up to do that, but he gets overly aggressive hunting out or seeking out those big plays. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That needs to be kind of tamed and tampered down a little bit. So,
I know you've got some picks this week.
Picks or guys I'm looking at? What are we talking here?
Well, we're talking picks now. You gotta help us make some money.
I like Clemson to cover that game.
Okay.
That's who I'm on.
Okay, so then I got to ask, Texas or Ohio State?
I'm in the minority here. I'm leaning Texas in this one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're the better team overall. Both teams,
the horseshoe. At the horseshoe.
Yes,
both
at
teams,
the horseshoe.
Yep.
Ohio State does not historically play well opening. They lost to Oregon. I was there. Opening game of the horseshoe. Doesn't matter. I agree. Texas is going to win.
Both teams have a lot of new guys. I mean, there's a lot of new faces on both sides. Everybody that's going to play in this game is a 4 or 5 star recruit. They're all talented as can be. But I'm also one of those who early on, we're talking last springish. I was of the mindset that a lot of people had. Are we overhyping Arch too much? Are we just going off of the name and whatnot? Well, the more I see him and look at him, watch him, I think he's pretty good. He has a lot of intangibles and stuff. I think he's going to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
Julian Saint will be good too. I think both these QBs will be all right. Texas will run the ball well.
And it's and not to interrupt you, Hoos, but I love the fact that you have 2 guys in the linebacker position that is being so devalued at the NFL. You have 2 guys that are getting 1st round buzz.
Yeah, Hill and Simmons are both really good.
Yeah.
Here's an intangible for you in that game. Texas's strength and conditioning is better than Ohio State's. And they are going to be stronger and have less injuries than Ohio State.
I must be in the minority here. I'm going Ohio State. And I think Ohio State's going to pull it off.
Listen, early in the season like this, big game, everything on the line, I always tend to lean towards the home team.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to the shoe?
I haven't.
Okay. I'm telling you, yes, is it a great football environment? Of course. But I don't trust. This is the thing is you can't really trust either team, right? Because you want to trust Texas. They're back. They're never back. They're kind of back, whatever. Ohio State, I trust even less. Ryan Day is not, he wouldn't shoot a deer, I don't think. He's not a foot on your neck kind of guy. And when the fans get quieted there, I saw it when Oregon beat them 2 or 3 years ago, opening game of the season, same kind of time frame too, early game, in the day. The whole place was nothing. There was nobody there, it felt like. So if the tide turns, now granted, this is Texas, a little bit bigger of a deal, but I don't have the faith in it. I wouldn't bet on it. I don't bet in general, but I wouldn't bet on Ryan Day in this game.
Gotcha.
What else you got, Who's?
One of the main games of the weekend, I have changed my tune this week. After Auburn Baylor is the game I'm talking about.
Okay.
In diving deeper into it, there's a lot of new faces, but that's why when you were talking before with the players you want to watch, for me, it's a unit, and it's Auburn's offensive line because I think they're going to be pretty salty. So they brought in Xavier Chaplin, will be the left tackle. He was at Va Tech.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, and Mason Murphy was at Southern Cal last year. They're both pretty good tackles. And after diving into this one, I think Auburn is going to dominate the trenches, both sides. I had liked Baylor for a long time. I've flipped the thinking now, and even though I have apprehensions about Jackson Arnold, I like Auburn in that one. And the line on this one is all over the place. Some places you're seeing Auburn -2.5. Some you're seeing it the other way to Baylor -1.5. So anywhere in that, but it's never more than a field goal anywhere. But I'm on Auburn now in that game. And then for the slightly lesser games, or, not the marquee ones, I like Syracuse to cover the 13.5 against Tennessee. That's a big spread.
That's a huge spread.
Yeah. And with Angeli, not sure, how he'll do there. But at that point, I just got to take the points there.
Well, I'm going to tell you this about Joey Aguilar, who's named the starting quarterback at Tennessee.
Yep.
As a guy that lives down here, and bleeds orange. He's not going to fit Heupel's scheme. He is not going to do, unless Heupel comes out here and runs some sort of different type of offense and caters it to him, runs more power spread without the wide splits. He cannot drive the ball to the sideline. That is not his forte. And I would almost rather have George McIntyre out there at this point. Let him learn trial by fire. But that's not going to happen in this one. So I'm right there with you. I think Syracuse covers.
Yeah, that's when you're given that many points, I'm always going to, if there's any doubt, you take the dog at that spread. The one that it's tough for me, the Gamecock in me. I think the Gamecocks win. I don't think they cover 7.5. Beamer's teams have typically finished great and not started as well. Season openers, they've been nip and tuck games. So I think they win. I do think it's by 7 or less, though. And though this was the toughest one for me. UTSA is a massive underdog against A&M. I think UTSA covers that game, but that wasn't it. I'm one of the few people, and talk with some of the guys on my show for tomorrow. I like Florida State to cover against Bama.
Really?
Again, it's
2 touchdowns, right? Around there?
Yeah, it is. So I think Ty Simpson is going to be a heck of a player. I don't know if we see a lot out of either team, though. I think this is a pretty slower paced game, limited possessions. That doesn't typically bode well for covering 2 touchdown spreads. And Florida State can only get better. They were awful last year. That is the game I'm the most worried about being just terribly wrong. There's a scenario where Bama beats the pants off of them. Maybe that happens, but I did lean Seminoles just because of the massive points there.
I'm leaning Alabama by 28. Fair. Okay. I think Ty Simpson is going to really surprise some people. I think that in the trenches, Alabama is built for it still. They have probably 8 guys that are top 75 prospects this year.
Proctor's so good up front.
Yeah.
Proctor, Bernard at the receiver position. I think Jam Miller is underrated as a running back. He's got that Devin Singletary type archetype.
Interesting comp. Yeah.
They're practically the same player. It's unbelievable when you kind of compare the two. But I'm leaning Alabama blowing them out. And a lot like that game they opened up against Sunday night several years ago. Hurts' first game there against Southern Cal.
That was when Francois tore his Achilles in that game, yes.
Yeah. No. Because that was a couple years after. I'm going back to the Southern Cal game. Alabama opened up against.
I thought you were talking Alabama, Florida State. Okay.
Yeah, no, I was talking. Yeah, there's so many questions. Oh, does Alabama not have a quarter? No, Ty Simpson is going to shock some people, and his brother.
I think Simpson's going to be good. I'm not. I like Simpson. Yeah.
So I think we've given everybody a lot to think about in this almost hour and a half long episode.
Yeah. My current employer, Marshall, is going to cover the 39.5 at Georgia too.
Hell yeah.
Kirby doesn't cover games against G5 teams or lower because they don't try to. They get up by 28, then they're just going to run the ball and kill the clock the rest of the game, and everybody's going to play. He doesn't care about it. So,
and I don't think Gunnar Stockton is going to be all of that this year either. No. So
yeah,
right there with you. I know, Emily. I know we got to try to wrap this up. Jimmy's over there probably freaking out. He's probably got another show.
I was trying to wrap it up. I'm not gonna. I'll save mine for next time. I think it's time.
Okay, that's probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. First live show. We're gonna be doing this every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern, right here, on YouTube, on X. So if you've been following along with it, send us your questions for next week. Also interact with the show live next week when we get into the later part of this, and we'll start taking questions and start getting into some great stuff. So for all the guys here and Emily Van Buskirk, we're going to say goodnight. Be back at it next week. Check out the show tomorrow as we go into some of the previews again for week 1. And hey, everybody, safe week. Drink responsibly. And
run the damn
college
ball.
Football is back.
Run
it's back,
the damn
baby.
Ball. That's it. I love it.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Draft Digest on YouTube, X, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.